The small repair station on Outpost 17 was quiet that morning, the kind of quiet that came only after a long night of engines cooling and tools finally resting. The human mechanic named Jace wiped his hands on an old cloth and stepped outside to breathe in the cold frontier air. His life was simple: fix machines, help travelers, and spend the evenings watching the twin suns sink behind the red mountains. He liked things calm, predictable, and steady. And on most days, Outpost 17 stayed exactly like that. But not today. He heard the sound before he saw anything. It wasn't human, and it wasn't from any standard ship. It was a deep, uneven hum, mixed with something that crackled like a broken energy coil. Jace turned his head toward the sky as the sound grew louder. A ship was approaching, but it flew shaky, like it was being held together by pure luck. He stepped back as the craft descended, wobbling left and right. Sparks popped out from one engine as it tried to stabilize. The ship finally touched the ground with a thud, causing dust to jump into the air. Jace blinked. Travelers came sometimes, but ships this damaged were rare. He waited for the door to open, expecting a tired pilot or a stressed freighter captain. But instead, he saw something he hadn't seen in years: an alien woman stepping out, her steps graceful despite the ship's rough landing. She was tall, almost a head taller than him, but not towering just enough to look striking. Her skin was a soft shade of silver blue, smooth like polished stone. Her hair flowed like deep midnight strands, catching the light as she moved. Two faint markings curved across her cheeks, glowing softly with each breath she took. Her clothes looked worn from travel but well-made, showing she came from a place with advanced craftsmanship. She glanced around the outpost before her eyes finally fell on Jace. He felt his breath catch for a second. Not because she was intimidating, not because she looked like someone from one of those big alien empires, but because she looked tired. Not the dangerous kind of tired. The kind of tired someone gets when they've been traveling far too long with no one to help them. She walked toward him slowly, carrying a metallic case. Even from a distance, he could tell the case was heavy. But she held it with steady strength. "Are you the mechanic here?" she asked softly. Her voice carried a musical tone, but it also sounded unsure, like she wasn't used to speaking the human language. Jace nodded. "Yeah. Name's Jace. You in trouble?" She hesitated. "My ship is failing. I need spare parts, if you have any." Her eyes drifted to her damaged craft, worry clear on her face. Jace wasn't the type to judge anyone by appearance, but he could tell she wasn't a fighter or a soldier. There was something gentle in the way she spoke, in the way she held herself. She looked like someone who avoided trouble but found it anyway. "What happened to your ship?" Jace asked, walking beside her toward the vessel. "Engine overload," she replied. "My stabilizer burnt out. The nav core is barely functioning. I was running from..." She stopped herself and looked away, as if she wasn't sure she wanted to share the full truth. Jace didn't push her. He knew some travelers carried stories they weren't ready to tell. Instead, he crouched beside the damaged engine and examined the melted parts. He whistled under his breath. "You're lucky you made it down at all," he said. "This engine should have shut off mid-flight." "It almost did," she whispered. He stood up and wiped his forehead. "Well, I can fix it. But I'll need some time. Maybe a day or two, depending on what else is damaged." Her shoulders dropped a little, not in frustration but in relief. He gave a short laugh. "Just call me Jace." She nodded slowly. "I am Arya." A beautiful name, he thought. Simple, graceful, fitting her quiet presence. Arya followed him back inside the repair station. Jace noticed she moved carefully, not touching anything unless necessary, as if she respected every tool and object around her. Many aliens treated human outposts with either amusement or disdain, but Arya looked at everything with calm curiosity. He found himself watching her more closely than he expected. There wasn't anything romantic or strange in his observation. He was simply trying to understand her. Something about her posture, half tense, half hopeful, made him wonder what she had been through. "You can rest here while I start checking your ship," Jace said, pointing to a small sitting bench. Arya hesitated. "Are you sure? Humans do not always welcome my kind." "Let's tene." "What makes you think that?" he asked. "Experience," she replied simply. Jace frowned, but didn't want to pressure her into explaining. He placed a small cup of warm herbal drink beside her. "This will help with stress. You look like you haven't rested in days." Her eyes widened slightly. "You are offering this? To me?" "Well, yeah," Jace answered. "You look like you need it." Arya accepted the drink with gentle hands, lifting it as if it were something precious. She took a sip, and a small breath of relief escaped her. Jace left her to rest while he walked back outside to inspect the ship again. The damage was worse than he first thought. The stabilizer was burnt straight through, the energy conduits were cracked, and the cooling vents were clogged with dust and plasma residue. Whoever had last serviced the ship did a terrible job. Or maybe Arya had been forced to make her own repairs while traveling without proper tools. As he worked, he thought about her eyes. They weren't cold like most warriors he had encountered. They were soft, almost too soft for someone traveling alone across dangerous sectors. He wondered what pushed her to such desperate travel. Hours passed as Jace worked nonstop. He checked parts, ran diagnostics, and scavenged through his storage for anything compatible. He wasn't a genius, but he was careful, patient, and skilled, qualities that made him one of the best mechanics on the frontier. Arya eventually stepped outside, standing beside him quietly. She wasn't trying to rush him. She simply watched, as if she found comfort in seeing someone work with steady hands. "You are very patient," she said softly. Jace shrugged. "Machines respond better when you treat them with patience." "And people?" she asked. He paused for a moment, then smiled a little. "Them too." Her lips curved faintly, the closest she had come to a smile since she arrived. It was small, but it changed her whole expression. Jace found himself staring for a heartbeat before he quickly looked back at the engine. Arya walked around the ship, touching the hull lightly. "I built this ship myself." "You did?" Jace said, impressed. "That explains the design. It's not from any main species I know." "My people build for survival, not beauty," she replied. "But I tried to make her special." Jace could hear the affection in her voice when she spoke about the ship. That told him something important. Arya wasn't just passing by. She had been traveling for a long time, and the ship wasn't just transport, it was her home. "Are you traveling alone?" Jace asked carefully. "Yes," she said quietly. "No crew? No family?" "No one." Her answer dropped into the air like a heavy stone. Jace didn't say anything. He didn't need to. Arya already looked like she had said too much. Her eyes shifted to the distant horizon, and he saw sadness flicker inside them. He changed the subject gently. "Your engine can be saved. I'll rebuild the stabilizer and replace the conduits. You might even get smoother flights after this." Arya looked at him. Really looked at him. For the first time, there was something soft in her expression. Gratitude, mixed with something deeper, something uncertain. "You are helping me even though you do not know me," she said. "That's how it works out here," Jace replied. "People help each other, or they don't survive." Arya stepped closer, her voice quiet. "Many would not help someone like me." "Jew." Jace shrugged casually. "Well, I'm not many." Those words seemed to reach her in a way nothing else had. Her guard softened. Her shoulders relaxed a little, and she stayed beside him as he worked. She didn't need to talk. She just needed someone who didn't fear her, didn't judge her, and didn't demand anything from her. The suns slowly set, painting the sky with gold and violet. The cool evening wind brushed across the outpost, carrying the smell of dust and metal. Arya watched Jace with quiet eyes. Something inside her was changing. Slowly, but unmistakably. She had come seeking spare parts. She had come expecting to fix her ship and leave. But now, sitting beside this calm human who treated her with kindness she hadn't felt in years, she realized her heart was no longer focused on leaving. Something about this outpost felt safe. Something about this mechanic felt warm. She didn't understand it yet, but she could feel the beginning of something she hadn't expected. Something new. Something human. Arya woke the next morning, feeling something she hadn't felt in years: rest. Real rest. The kind that made her body feel lighter and her mind calmer. She slowly opened her eyes and looked around the small room Jace had offered her for the night. It was simple, but warm, with a soft lamp casting a gentle glow and a clean blanket covering her. She had slept on cold metal floors, broken ship seats, and even rough cave stones during her long travels. This was the first time she had slept without fear. She sat up and listened. Jace was already working outside, his tools clicking and humming in a steady rhythm. That sound made her feel safe, for reasons she didn't understand. She stood, brushed off her clothes, and stepped outside. The morning air was cold, and the first sun had just begun to rise, painting the sky a faint blue. Jace was bent over the engine compartment, his hands stained with grease and metal dust. He looked completely focused, but he still noticed her presence the moment she stepped out. "Morning," he said, without turning around. "Sleep well?" She nodded. "Better than I have in a long time." He smiled to himself. "Good. You looked like you needed it." Arya watched him work for a moment. His movements were calm, steady, and methodical. Every tool he picked up, every screw he turned, every wire he adjusted, he did it with care, not rushing anything. She had seen engineers in large starports fix ships for profit, moving fast and talking loud. But Jace wasn't like them. He worked like someone who respected machines, almost like he saw them as partners rather than objects. "I found the problem with your stabilizer core," Jace said. "It was overheating because the flow regulator was cracked." "Can you fix it?" Arya asked softly. "I already am," he replied, holding up a small, broken piece. "I'm replacing the regulator and rerouting the energy output. It'll make the ship run smoother. Won't be perfect, but better." Arya tilted her head slightly. "Why do you work so hard for someone you just met?" Jace gave a quiet laugh. "Because your ship deserves a chance, and because you deserve to travel safely." Her eyes softened. Such simple words, but they warmed her heart in a way that made her chest tighten. She didn't know how to respond, so she simply stepped closer. "Is there anything I can help with?" she asked. Jace looked at her hands, then at the tools. "You know machinery?" "Cecid. I built my ship," she replied. He raised his eyebrows. "Then yeah, you can help. Hold this in place while I adjust the core." Arya nodded and crouched beside him. Their shoulders brushed slightly as they worked together, not in any romantic or strange way, but in a steady partnership, like two people who understood each other without speaking too much. She held the warm metal piece steady while Jace tightened the screws. His hand brushed hers accidentally, and she didn't pull away. She didn't feel fear or discomfort. Instead, she felt calm, steady, grounded. Working beside him felt natural. When they finished, Jace leaned back and wiped his forehead. "Nice work. You've got a steady hand." Arya looked down at her hands. "I have had to rely on them for a long time. Many years. Alone." Jace looked at her quietly. "Do you want to talk about it?" She shook her head. "Not yet. I will, maybe. But not yet. Whenever you're ready," he said gently. They continued working together through most of the morning, repairing the conduits, cleaning the vents, and adjusting the power lines. The more they worked side by side, the more Arya felt something unusual growing inside her. It wasn't fear. It wasn't caution. It was something warmer, like trust. She wasn't used to trusting anyone. After a few hours, Jace stood up and stretched. "Let's take a break. You like food, warm or cold?" Arya blinked. "You think?" he teased lightly. Arya looked embarrassed. "I do not get to eat warm food often. I travel too much. I hide too much." Jace stopped and stared at her for a moment. Not with judgment, but with quiet concern. "Then today, you're getting warm food." He walked to the small kitchen inside the repair station, and Arya followed him silently. She watched as he prepared simple human food: bread, cooked grains, and a small bowl of warm stew. It wasn't fancy, but the smell filled the room with comfort. He placed the bowl in front of her. "Careful, it's hot." Arya stared at it for a moment. A strange feeling washed over her. No one had cooked for her in years, maybe longer. She lifted the bowl slowly, took a small sip, and paused. Her eyes widened slightly. "This is good," she said softly, almost surprised. Jace laughed quietly. "It's just stew." "It is warm," she replied. "Warm food tastes different. It feels alive." He sat across from her, watching her reaction. She wasn't fast or messy. She ate slowly, like someone trying to make the moment last. When she finished, she took a deep breath. "Thank you." "Anytime," Jace said. There was a long pause before she spoke again. "You are different, Jace. In a good way, I hope?" She nodded. "In a rare way." Jace didn't know what to say, so he only smiled. But Arya's words stayed with him. He could sense she was carrying something heavy, something she hadn't shared. He didn't want to push her, but he hoped she would trust him soon. They returned outside and continued repairs. As they worked, Arya finally found the courage to speak. "Jace," she said quietly, "I ran from my people." He froze for a moment, then turned to her slowly. "Why?" "They wanted me to marry," she whispered. "Not for love, not for companionship, but for politics. My family wanted an alliance with a powerful clan. They told me I had no choice." Jace looked at her carefully. "So you fled?" "I could not stay," she said. "I could not live a life chosen by others." Jace nodded slowly. "Makes sense to me. Everyone deserves to choose their own path." Arya looked away, her expression tight. "My clan believes I betrayed them. They may have sent hunters. I have been running for months." Jace felt a strange surge of protective instinct rise in him. "Are they dangerous?" "Yes," she said softly. "They do not give up." He crossed his arms. "Well, you're safe here for now. Outpost 17 isn't exactly easy to find." Arya gave a faint smile, but it faded quickly. "Arya," Jace said gently. "Trouble finds me sometimes whether I like it or not. But helping someone who needs it? I won't apologize for that. None. Adia. None. Nundia. Adia. Nundia." Her eyes softened again. "You are kind. Just human," he said. She looked at him with a strange expression, like she was trying to understand something that didn't fit her view of the galaxy. Something only humans seemed to carry so naturally. They continued working until late afternoon. Jace finally stepped back from the ship and wiped his hands. "Almost done," he said. "Just need to calibrate the core and check the navigation system." Arya's relief was obvious. "I did not expect you to fix it this fast." Jace shrugged. "You helped. 2 people can work faster than 1. Arya felt a warmth grow in her chest again. She hadn't been part of a team in years. She had forgotten what cooperation felt like. She realized she kept glancing at him, at his calm hands, his steady eyes, his small smile whenever something went right. The mechanic who lived in the middle of nowhere had slowly become the safest person she knew. As evening approached, a soft wind swept over the outpost. The twin suns dipped behind the mountains, leaving behind streaks of orange light. Arya stood beside the ship, staring at the sky. Jace stood beside her. "You miss your home?" he asked quietly. Arya shook her head slowly. "I miss the idea of home. My real home no longer exists for me. See, 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 see." Jace understood more than she expected. Sometimes home isn't a place. It's the people you trust. Arya's eyes flickered toward him. "And who do you trust, Jace?" He paused for a moment. "Right now? You." She looked like she stopped breathing for a second. Something shifted inside her, something quiet but strong. She couldn't remember the last time someone trusted her without conditions. A sudden beep interrupted the moment. Jace quickly checked, the scanner mounted near the workshop door. His expression stiffened. Arya stepped closer. "What is it?" "A ship entering the sector," he said. "One I don't recognize." Arya's face drained of color. "Show me." Jace tapped the screen. A small image appeared, a sleek, dark vessel with sharp wings and glowing red markings. Arya whispered, "That is a hunter ship. From my clan." Jace inhaled slowly. "They traced you." Arya grabbed his arm, her voice trembling. "I must leave. Now, before they harm you." Jace shook his head firmly. "Your ship isn't ready. It won't survive a chase." "Then I will face them alone," she said. "No," Jace replied, his voice steady. "Not anymore." She stared at him, startled. "Why would you risk yourself for me?" Jace looked into her silver blue eyes without hesitation. "Because you didn't deserve the life you ran from. And because I don't want them to take you away." Arya's breath caught. Her heart beat faster, not from fear, but from something she couldn't name. The hunter ship drew closer on the scanner. Time was running out. Arya stepped closer to him, her voice quiet but firm. "Jace." He swallowed hard, feeling the same strange pull inside him. "Then don't." The alarm rang again. They stood together, facing the coming danger, not as strangers, but as two souls who had found something unexpected in each other. Something worth protecting. Something worth fighting for. The alarm kept ringing in sharp, steady pulses, filling the quiet outpost with tension. Jace silenced it only long enough to rerun the scan. There was no mistake. The hunter ship was moving fast, cutting across the sector like a blade through the sky. Arya stood beside him, her hands trembling slightly, though her face tried to stay calm. "They will land soon," she whispered. "They always move quickly." Jace exhaled deeply, bracing himself. "Then, we don't have much time. Your ship needs just one more calibration. Help me finish it." Arya looked at him with startled eyes. "You still want to fix it? Even now?" "Thing. Arya," he said firmly. "You need a chance to survive, and I'm giving it to you." A soft breath escaped her. Something like gratitude mixed with fear. But she didn't argue. She followed him quickly to the damaged vessel. Jace opened the engine panel again, pulling out one last tool. Arya handed him cables, secured connectors, and checked the nav core. Their movements were fast, but precise, both of them working together, as if they had practiced this for years instead of hours. A shadow passed over the ground. They both froze. The hunter ship was already descending. Dust and wind swirled violently as the sleek black vessel lowered itself behind the outpost. Its engines hummed with power, its red markings glowing faintly like a warning. Arya's breathing quickened. "They found me," she whispered. "They always find me." Jace grabbed her hand without thinking. "You're not facing them alone. Arya stared at his hand holding hers. That simple human gesture carried more strength than any weapon she had ever known. She squeezed back gently. The hunter ship's doors opened with a hiss. 3 tall figures stepped out, wearing armor made from dark plates that reflected the sun's fading light. They moved with rigid discipline, each step heavy and purposeful. The one in front was the tallest, a stern alien with silver skin and gold markings across his forehead, symbols that showed authority. His eyes were sharp and cold, scanning the outpost until they landed on Arya. "There you are," he said, his voice echoing with power. "Arya of the Lyrandel clan. You will return with us." Arya took a step backward instinctively. Jace moved forward slightly, placing himself just a little in front of her. Not enough to be aggressive, but enough to make a statement. The leader looked at Jace with mild annoyance. "Human mechanic. This matter does not involve your kind. Step aside." The scene tepid afar. Well, Jace didn't move. "She doesn't want to go with you. That is not your concern," the leader replied. "Her decisions are for her clan to command." Arya's voice trembled, but she forced herself to speak. "I left because you wanted to force me into a political bond. I do not want that life." The leader's eyes narrowed. "Your wants do not matter. Your role is to secure peace between the clans. You will come back." Jace felt anger rise inside him. "She's not a tool. She gets to choose her own life." The leader tilted his head. "You are a simple mechanic. Do not claim to understand our laws." Jace didn't back down. "I don't need to understand your laws. I understand people. And she is a person." A wave of irritation passed across the leader's face. The 2 armored guards stepped closer, their boots crunching against the rocky ground. "Human," the leader said. "If you do not move, we will move you." Arya stepped forward quickly, holding up her hand. "Stop. Please. Jace is not part of this." The leader ignored her. "You have feelings for him. Ridiculous. Humans are weak, fragile, short-lived. You are humiliating your clan by forming attachments to such a creature." Jace didn't respond to the insult. He kept his gaze steady, protecting Arya with nothing but his presence. Arya took a shaky breath, forcing strength into her voice. "I will not return." The leader's expression hardened. "Then we will take you by force." The guards took another step forward. Arya felt panic rise in her chest. Memories of her clan-locked rooms, strict orders, her future decided for her pressed into her mind like a weight. But then she felt Jace's hand brush hers again, comforting her even without words. He leaned close and whispered, "Trust me." Arya nodded once, her heart pounding. Jace turned back to the leader. "If you want her, then go through me." Silence fell across the outpost. The leader laughed low and cold. "You think you can stop us? You have no weapons, no armor. You are only human." Jace didn't bend. "Maybe. But humans don't run from doing the right thing." The leader grew tired of speaking. He motioned to his guards. "Remove him." The guards charged forward. Arya stepped forward instantly, blocking their path. She raised her hands, and a faint glow shimmered around her palms. Jace stared. He had never seen her do anything like that. The leader frowned. "You would fight your own people?" Arya's eyes glistened. "I will fight anyone who tries to take my freedom." She released a pulse of energy not powerful enough to harm, but strong enough to push the guards backward several steps. Jace felt the wind of it sweep past him. The leader's eyes widened in surprise. "You have grown stronger." Arya's breath trembled. "I will not be a prisoner again." One guard charged again. Jace grabbed a metal pipe lying nearby, swung it forward, and hit the guard's armor hard enough to stagger him. The impact nearly numbed Jace's hands, but he held firm. The leader raised his hand to strike Arya with a blast of energy. Arya tried to shield herself, but she wasn't fast enough. Jace didn't think he jumped in front of her. The blast hit Jace square in the chest. He stumbled backward, falling hard. Arya screamed his name and dropped beside him. "Jace! Jace!" Pain shot through his body, but he stayed conscious. "I'm okay," he whispered, breathing hard. Tears rose in Arya's eyes, shimmering like liquid silver. Something inside her snapped not in anger, but in fierce protectiveness. She stood slowly, her entire body glowing faintly. The leader took a cautious step back. "You have chosen a path beneath you," he said. "A life with a human mechanic? This is foolish." Arya lifted her chin. "It is my path. My choice." She raised her hand again. A pulse of energy, stronger this time, rushed outward. The ground shook. Dust exploded upward. The guards shielded themselves, stumbling backward. The leader looked unsettled. "You have bonded with him emotionally. That makes your power unstable." "May." Arya stepped closer. "Leave now, or I will make you leave." The leader hesitated. His ship's scanners beeped, alerting him to something farther in the sector. He looked at the sky. A larger vessel was approaching. Not human. Not from her clan, either. The leader clicked his tongue in frustration. "We do not have time for this." He glared at Arya. "But this is not over. We will return." He signaled to his guards, and all three quickly retreated to their ship. The engine roared. The vessel lifted, and within seconds they shot back into the sky, disappearing into the clouds. Arya stood frozen, trembling. Then she rushed back to Jace. He was sitting up now, holding his chest but breathing slowly. "That hurt," he muttered, trying to smile. Arya placed her hands on his shoulders, tears slipping down her cheeks. "Why did you jump in front of me? That blast could have killed you." Jace gave a tired smirk. "I don't like seeing you get hurt." Her breath caught. She didn't hug him, she simply held his arms, grounding herself in the reality that he was still alive. "I didn't want to lose you," she whispered. "You won't," he replied softly. "Not if I can help it." Arya helped him stand, her movements gentle, almost protective. She walked him inside the workshop and made him sit on a crate. Jace inhaled shakily, still recovering from the impact. "You saved me," Arya said quietly. Jace shook his head. "You saved me too." They looked at each other for a long moment, something unspoken growing between them. Something warm, steady, and real. Finally, Arya spoke again. "They will return someday." Jace nodded. "Probably." "What will you do then?" she asked. Jace looked straight into her eyes. "Whatever it takes to keep you safe." Her heart swelled at those words. She sat beside him, close enough for their shoulders to touch. "I came seeking spare parts," she whispered. "I thought I would fix my ship and keep running." "And now?" he asked. Arya took a slow breath, her voice soft and certain. "Now, my heart changed. Because I met someone who treats me with kindness. Someone who sees me. Someone I do not want to leave." Jace felt warmth spread through him. "You can stay here as long as you want." Arya rested her hand lightly on his. "Then I choose to stay." Outside, the twin suns dipped lower, painting the sky in gold and violet. The outpost stood quiet again, but no longer lonely. Two travelers, one human, one alien, sat together inside the small workshop, not as a mechanic and a stranger, but as two hearts that had found something rare among the stars. Something worth staying for. Something worth fighting for. And something just beginning.